Get started. The first department is Parks. Adam?
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Good, thank you, everybody. Good.
Thank you for ordering spring today.
It was warm out there, wasn't it? Very nice. It's supposed to stay warm for a few days?
Monday.
Yeah.
50s.
All right, like to begin?
Sure.
I hope everyone's on the same page with the irrigation at center field. All right, the irrigation is at least over 25, easily 25 years old. John and I were talking about it just a few moments ago. It's basically on its last leg. I'm continually, repairing it. It'd be nice to get a new system in there down in center field. That's where we stand with that. Pretty simple. Life expectancy of a beautiful PVC irrigation system is about 25 years. And that's not PVC, it's poly pipe. It's black poly pipe. So it's very extremely brittle. So when you start getting freezing and thawing, it really breaks. It's wafer thin. So in my eyes, it's done. It's had its life expectancy. So, all right. The next one is concrete in the dugouts. We did this down at West River. Came out really nice. Heard a lot of fantastic compliments from how it's not muddy, it's not weedy, there's no bees. So I want to keep on doing that. You dig it all out, we put stone down, we concrete them, and it's nice clean look too.
You was talking about the flat part.
Yeah,
You're
we
talking
know.
about building dugouts.
No, not the roof, just
where
the
the kids
flat
put
where your
their feet and
feet
walk.
are. When everyone puts their bags and their water bottles in, sometimes it's a mud hole after a rain. Eliminates weed whacking, eliminates bees from burrowing into the dugouts, which is a huge issue. So that's that.
2,000 does how many dugouts?
Town has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 2 other ones that are already concrete. They're up at Acorn Hill Ball Field. They're already built that way.
Adam, didn't you already done West River?
We did.
So is this, it says West River and Center Field, is this
Well, West River has,
more? West
yeah,
River
4
has-
more.
Okay.
And are these in the order of priority that you would like them funded?
They are.
Okay.
They are. Plow for the Parks pickup. We have a new full-time employee for the Parks Department, and his main job is going to be doing sidewalks, but it seems kind of idiotic that he has a pickup and he doesn't have a plow. And if a truck breaks or 2 trucks break, and it's not wise to sit there and drive back and forth and around the town campus and all around everywhere and not have a plow on the truck. And that's only $6,000. And it'll fit our truck that we have now. All right. Field paint sprayer. Replaced. It's 15 years old. This is a must. I've got to have this. Our paint sprayer. I can't Band-Aid it anymore. It's had it.
So what will you do come spring when the fields have to be done?
I rebuilt it, and I'm praying that it gets through into the spring until July 1st. We had an incredible amount of issues with it, and it doesn't make any. We have it on a mower, and we pull a handle and we spray and we go, and we can spray all the fields in a half a day. And if we don't do that, we have to do it by hand, and that's a huge.
I'm just
effort.
thinking maybe we can do this year.
Okay.
If
I mean, that would be
If the
wonderful.
thing isn't going to make it, and
No.
we could talk about it maybe during budget time.
Okay, thank you. Fitzgerald Walking Trail. I'd like to spend some money on restoring the trail over here, right in the center of town. most of the stone dust has either been washed off or people tracking it into their cars, and some of the stones are being exposed, and it's becoming very dangerous, I think, in our eyes, to cap the walking trail with at least 4 inches of stone dust, the entire walking trail, and the parking lot.
Same dust that we use currently.
That's correct, yeah. Any questions with that?
This is for the entire Fitzgerald walk,
That's correct.
the whole thing.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
It really takes a beating in the bad weather because it gets rutted.
It does.
So how long would 4 inches of stone dust,
Well,
how
I
many years
kinda-
would that get us through, do you think?
I think parts of it should be paved, and there's a big, discussion.
Some of it is paved, right?
Yeah,
Some
there's
of
a
the
couple
hills-
parts.
yeah.
And everyone probably walks the trail, and everyone knows those spots. And,
Right.
and you see it. I mean,
Right.
every time it rains, it washes out, and it's
Right.
gone.
Right.
And you could backblade it, and there's just so much you could do, and you have to keep on, throwing money away, in my eyes. And I think we should pave those few spots.
Having said that, how long would 4 inches of stone dust, historically, how long has 4 inches of stone dust gotten us through? A year or two? 2 seasons?
How
3
old
seasons?
is the walking trail? I don't know. Does anybody know?
25 years? And we've
Is
never
it
done
that
it?
old, right?
Close to the,
How long does it
20
last
years.
if I cap those hills? It's the 4 inches on the flat surface,
yeah.
25 years.
Oh, okay, so you haven't done this before?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I patched it up here and there.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
seen
yeah, okay,
that.
okay.
And the hills, part of this would be those portions, there's 2 spots that really should be done.
Right, right.
Was that included in your budget?
It's included in this, it just wasn't written on it, that's all.
To pave the hills?
Yep,
Thanks, Ed.
yep. The new well for Acorn Hill Ball Field. Right now, the well up there has a few problems. The pump in the well has had it. The well casing is rusting away, has holes in it. It broke and didn't work at the end of the season of this year, which was pretty stressful, and praying for rain there was no rain. So this money, what we're going to do, Tony and I came up with this idea, we've found some money. We're going to repurpose the well, right, coming into spring. That means like refracking it. Take a yield test and see if it will produce enough water. And of course, put a well in it and go with that. But if that doesn't work, that means I have to start re-drilling another well somewhere on the site. When that was done, initially that well, that was the 3rd well that was dug when they finally hit water. So this money is there just in case if it doesn't work out, that $10,000 for start re-drilling again. All right?
So where we have a good irrigation system, we don't have a good well.
I'm sorry?
Where we have a good irrigation system, we don't necessarily have a good well.
That's right. The irrigation system is nice. The piping is done beautifully. The controllers are beautiful, but the well is in trouble. So if you don't have water up there, you will lose those fields. Because those fields up there are sand-based, for one. Everything underneath there is sand. I remember in the old days, that's where the dump was, and it's pure sand. And it dries out instantly. It has wonderful topsoil, but underneath it is pure sand. It's beautiful to grow grass, but you got to have water. All right? I've been asked a few times to come up with some pricing on putting an irrigation system down at West River. And that's the price of that. That's $60,000. It's come down over the years because now they put in a water line closer to the ball field, so if we do it, you don't have to cross the street, which is nice. It's right there, right next to the ball field.
Is that for all 3 fields?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Baseball field grooming machine. Purchased in '99. It goes all season, non-stop. And I just want to make sure if that dies, it could be soon, and that money's in there, so we don't have to rake it by hand. And that's when I was first hired here, that's what we used to do. is rake 7 ball fields by hand and groom them. And when I got hired, I said, let's get this grooming machine, and now we do them all by 12 o'clock. So that's that 25,000. It's getting old.
But according to this, it looks like you think you can get another 2 seasons
I'm
out.
hoping, yeah. Yep. Tennis courts. I think the tennis courts are in pretty good condition. It's like the second time we've painted them since they've been built. There's some cracks out there, not like the past where there was 75 to 150 cracks, hairline cracks. Now there's like 4 or 5. But we should keep money in the budget in the future to, if we start seeing it deteriorate and become, heavily worn, and that money should be there to repaint it. Reseal it and repaint it. That's what that $15,000 is there for.
That's the, I'm sorry, that's the routine cleaning that you described?
You power wash it, they put a sealer down.
Okay, as part of that
and
before
paint
you paint it, okay. And you think that'll cut down on the cracks and,
It has immensely.
It has, okay.
It has.
how often do you have to do that?
We've done it in 2 years, twice in, I say 10 years
Okay.
or so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
And that's that.
Any other questions for Adam? Thank you.
Very simple. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Brad?
Wear my shirt now, Matt, so you know who I am. Good evening,
That's what I was looking at. Building maintenance.
I'll change it after a couple of years.
Just next shirt, make the letters a little bigger. I can't see
Okay.
that
What you should do is mess with him.
It changed my brother's yellow shirt.
Just
That's a
we
good
like to
idea.
watch that.
That's a good idea. I didn't think of
It's a
that.
family Parsons.
Yeah.
adventure.
All right, now I got to concentrate on this. All right, shall I begin?
Sure.
On my first page, which is hopefully the same page you have, is a security system for the Human Services Department. Panic alarm system. I think that's the first item you're looking at, I hope.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
That's a request made by Mary Ellen to expand her current panic alarm system, which would now include, besides her office, it would include youth services, the office across from youth services in the center building, which is their game room, cards, it's going to be the computer room. It will also pick up Lee Canning's office, the senior center director's office, and she's splitting her office. So another section in the building will be her office, and her assistant will go in her old office, and both locations will have panic buttons in them now. Very similar to the ones you find in the town clerks. The system that we're putting in the library currently, that'll be finished tomorrow morning. Mary Ellen already has a panic system. We cannot expand on it. It won't take any more devices. It's made for 2 devices only. It's been there since I've been here, over 21 years.
So, I just want to mention on that, Deputy Chief Stewart is having the state police come down, I think it's next week, to do an inspection of the town buildings, and just to be sure that we coordinate as well as possible and have, an outside assessment. This may be the way to go forward still, but I'm sure you'll be working with Ray and everybody.
Yeah, I've talked to Ray already on this, just recently, matter of fact.
Good.
But this is her request. I guess this is the future now, the way things are going, unfortunately. But that's her request. I did get other quotes, obviously, but that's why it's in my budget. The second request is for the replacement of our current maintenance van. It's the only vehicle in maintenance. We use it every day, night, weekends, whenever we're called in. It's to replace our van. It says 92,000 miles on it.
And are you experiencing any maintenance issues now?
None whatsoever. None. Every day.
Is there any other way for us to use this in one of the fleets in the town?
We'll keep it. It won't go out for auction. My intention is to give it to the other maintenance man to sort of improve the efficiency in the department, so it doesn't require two people in a vehicle to go get parts. Because there are some locations that I don't know. If I'm doing something, I don't have to stop, pick him up, help him, or he didn't have to come get me, vice versa. If there's two maintenance technicians with two vehicles. It's extremely inefficient.
Sure.
It's big annoyance for me to stop what I'm doing when I'm across town at the country club or whatever, and I have to stop to assist him for no less than 10 minutes. But he needs my assistance right then. It's very beneficial. It's the only department in town that has one vehicle.
How many miles do you think you put on that van a year? 20? 15?
15?
So you'll be over 100 and change when
Yeah.
this happens.
I mean, it still runs. I mean, I'm really, I like to take care of things. If somebody gives you something, you might as well take care of it as best you can.
That's why we have you as maintenance man.
Makes sense. Okay, here we go. Another request from facilities that I put in our budget is for the filing system on the racks, or the tracks, I should say, for facilities. Facilities asked me to carry this in their budget. Obviously, the building official has the same system. The same system is found in, I can't remember the name, Betsy Quist's office, that type of system. Their road files are now currently installed in the center building, in the basement, in the old men's bathroom, in file cabinets. All the road files are over there. So that's why it's in our budget. The tracks, the location for the tracks, so that's all been taken care of in the floor. The only thing that's missing is the system itself. Let's see. Our next request is repairs to the HVA system in the library, mainly the air conditioning system. I know some of you are familiar with AKF John Rice. I brought him in to do an assessment of the building and his engineers to tell us what is wrong with our air conditioning. And he did. He gave us a report on all the things that were either non-functioning, prepared to fail, would fail next year. He supplied us with a report as requested. This money is to do the repairs in the library to the HVA system, mainly to the air conditioning system. It comprises 90% of it. Some of the air conditioning system is associated with the heating system based on a few of the valves do both, heating and air conditioning. Hopefully, if we make the repairs, there'll be no other need to spend any more funds in the library, hopefully. But this is the first step in making these repairs.
These repairs will make us more energy efficient as well. I'm assuming the system isn't running at
Most
maximum
definitely
efficiency.
make us more energy efficient.
So we'll get some savings back from,
Most definitely. Any system that's working 100%,
Kenny, we gotta figure out if we can use that fund.
We do,
We
yes.
have a library fund
Mhm.
that was funded by a,
We could
I'm
possibly
trying to
use
figure
that.
out what we can use it for. but
Right.
I believe it's for the library. That's the
Correct.
Was that
purpose.
part of the building project? though?
No.
No.
This is the, I forget the name, what's the name?
Noise declar.
Noise declark. Set up a fund to benefit the library, so we're trying to
Well,
determine.
I'll look into that, see if we can use that for this, yeah.
This way we can, there's a few dollars in there, so.
Okay.
yeah,
Does this address the humidity issues there have?
at the library, yes.
Okay, this is what.
That has to do with the next page,
Oh.
right after that. Hopefully, these repairs will eliminate the need to spend $250,000.
Oh, okay.
But there's no guarantee. Is there no guarantee? That'd be
I can't honestly say.
No,
There's no guarantee.
we're hopeful.
Hopeful.
Right, it's a worthwhile investment.
Most definitely.
It is.
That's right.
John Rice's report is very, very detailed and specific.
Okay.
Yeah, found a lot of things that are very useful. We worked all day over there.
so maybe worst case scenario, if we do the first request, maybe we could at least put the second request, which is much larger, off a few years.
It's a possibility. Yeah. Anything's possible. We do the repairs and see how we fare, and
Is that why you requested it in 18 and 19? Because you want to see if we get the repairs done?
Exactly.
Okay.
I just, we put something in there, worst case scenarios, just so you could see it on the radar and
Yeah.
see that, you know, oh my God, if this all doesn't work out, we may have to spend this or we may not. But at least you know there's a problem there.
Right.
And it could escalate to $250,000.
Right.
Yeah. So that explains the next page, 250.
I hope there's not too many more pages.
FY19 is self-explanatory, the roof on the town hall right above our heads, certain sections we repaired. We seen repairing the roof, we repaired it all once, and we repaired sections of the roof because nails would pop out in this whole front section over in the corner. So that sort of throws the schedule off. So certain areas, the back section has nails popping up on it now. Not bad, just a few, but that's a sign to me that in a couple of years, we're probably gonna have to do that back section. So I figured, let's just do the areas that we didn't do, like this two front area. We did the side area over Jerry Shaw's head recently. Let's just get the rest of it done, put the roof back on a schedule. We'll know in 30 years, we're gonna have to put another roof on instead of piecemealing it. You know, every 3 years we do a section, every 5 years we do this section. You'll get it all done. When you start getting into a roof where one section may fail, one section could fail, the next thing you know, it all fails at the same time. So I did get multiple prices for that too. So the next price is that I have to consider the town hall boilers. That's been on here before. The two boilers down here. The burners are brand new. Those are gas burners. Yeah, but the blocks are not. Those blocks are from 2004. Yeah, as far as boilers are, that's a relatively inexpensive price to change both blocks. It is what it is. The same thing with the town library. I put that way out in 20 and 21 and split it up. I mean, we currently don't have anything wrong with our boilers. They're put in 99. It's a residential boiler. There's 4 or 3 of them now. There used to be 4. One failed. They're not really made for that application.
How are they residential?
A little bit. I don't know. I
Oh, good.
don't know.
It's a big house.
If you put enough residential boilers in, it'll
sure.
carry you a long way. You know, the more you put in, the longer it'll carry you.
Maybe that's another item we can look
Yeah,
at.
right. Yeah, he's gotta get an opinion on that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Let's see. And the last couple of pages are for the Thomas Darling House, which
There'll be next.
they'll be next.
But you're just pool and gym.
Pool and gym.
Yeah.
There's no special request. It's a standard pool and gym reserve that I put in all the time. That is always there in case we have a failure of a filter or a major pump, a major repair in the pool. I can get it repaired immediately, and there is no downtime to the pool.
Now, when did we
Instantly.
start this reserve, Fred? Do you remember?
I've been over here 21 years or more. It's before me.
Okay.
I've used it before. Yeah.
Is there a current balance, Tony, in this?
11,000.
11,000,
I don't remember right offhand. 11,000.
Okay, so it's been used.
I've used it before. Yes.
Okay.
I've had a filter, the interior of one filter repaired. If I don't have that repaired, obviously I can't run the pool, so I can call up a contractor immediately. He'll come down and repair it, and usually the following day I can open the pool back up.
Tony, I have a question for you. Only on the bottom of that sheet, it says coming from the general fund, but we would actually be looking to take it out of that reserve fund?
You talking about the pool gym?
Yeah.
No.
No. The pool gym would be it would be a general fund expense.
And most of the stuff for the pool is very expensive. One filter is
It's called- it's a reserve.
15,000.
Yeah,
Just one, and I have 2.
Because it's not for
It's
specific
reserve
expenditure.
use, but it's.
it's not for the specific. It wasn't specifically for the pool.
It's not like it's for a filter or for a
Right.
pump. It's a reserve
General for
for,
the-
gives more discretion to the
Building.
department head about what to use it for.
Yeah.
So, and there's 11,000 approximately, so basically after the first 2 years, if we needed the 5,000 each year, as scheduled by Brad, we would start just finding it elsewhere.
Yeah, so there's 11,000 in it right now.
couple of years.
So if you have no issues going forward, then this would make it 16. If you do, then.
Right.
So we can review that
To give you
later.
examples, I'm coming up on getting a new pool vacuum. Mine's getting old. I repair it myself. A lot of things, I can't repair the motor. It's electric and it's attached to a cord that you put in the pool. So I don't want to be responsible for that. Normally you send it out to the manufacturer, or that pool vacuum is no longer made. It's obsolete. I could pay upwards of $7,000 to $8,000 for a new pool vacuum. I continue to repair it as parts are available, but I'm getting less and less access to parts. It's the way it goes. But that's one item. A pool filter is $15,000, one filter, and I have two. Pool
Can I ask
pump.
you a semi-related question to that?
Yeah.
Now that we have the new system
Yep.
with how's that working out? Does that seem to be helping with
Fantastic.
supplies, less?
I put it up in a
chlorine?
corner over in a dark spot. You can barely see it, and it just does its thing. And
Great.
yep, that's all I look at it every day. As long as there's not a red light on it, there's a white, a green, and a red light. If there's a green and red light lit, I walk right by it. There's nothing I can do to it. That tells me everything's A-okay. He's happy, I'm happy.
Have you seen a difference we were hoping for a difference in using less chlorine, less supplies?
It's too early. I've had one delivery since. I hold 110,000 gallons and a reserve of 15 in small containers. So that lasts me well over a month. So I've only had one delivery. I need at least 6 months, maybe to a full year,
See what the difference
to see if there's a big difference. But yeah, it works great. It's a great gift.
Okay, anything else for, Brad?
That's it.
Our Darling House is next.
Thanks, Brad.
You're welcome.
Don't worry, nice to see you. Look at you, professional. So bad to see you.
Hi everyone, my name's Alexia Beltran. I am president of the Historical Society, and I am here. Leland Torrance couldn't be here tonight, so I'm here to present a request for actually a roof at the Darling House. If I could get to my presentation. So I think all of you should have a new 6-year plan that Leland put together.
Third page behind the. Yeah, so it's behind the two requests.
Up to full, right?
Over there.
Yeah, it's hanging out on the wall.
Okay, so you should have the new 6-year budget plan, which is $30,000 a year, which is the $15,000 that you had generously approved for us, and we thank you for that. And also, because of the work that needs to be done in this sort of broad envelope project, also another $15,000 that we are planning to get from grants and donations. The reason we're here tonight is not only for that, but also for a one-time request for funds to replace the wood shingle roof in the next budget. This was not something that was a surprise to us to do at all. The monies for the roof were originally planned for in 2019 and 2020 budget years, but new information suggests that we need to do this in the next year. This is the budget that the new budget that you have, and it's circled in red, is the $41,000 for the wood shingle roof. And what we've had to do is move that up to 2017, and also to do it all at once. We were hoping to do it over 2 years, piecemeal. Why are we doing this? We knew the roof was close to the end of its lifespan. It was installed in the 1970s, and the lifespan of a wood shingle roof is 40 to 50 years. The condition of the roof, however, is much worse than we realized. The scaffolding installed to complete the lead remediation project that we started this year allowed us a close-up look at the roof. I can show you some pictures of that. So there's an urgent need to replace the entire roof all at once. We have no room in the budget to move money designated for other projects because the lead remediation that we started this year, that we've done on 2 sides of the house, is also an urgent need, so that portion of the envelope project can't be delayed. I have some pictures of events. We have people at the house. We have the 3rd graders that come to the house, so the lead remediation is also crucial. But that's covered in the $15,000 and our grants and donations over the next several years. So, just so you know, we worked together with the town and did receive a grant this year that helped us start this envelope project. We hope to do a 1772 foundation grant again and ask for the maximum next year. We're also working with the Connecticut Trust to apply for a HIP tag and M&R matching grants. That's historical preservation, technical assistant grant, and maintenance and repair. All those are matching those, so it would match the funds within the town budget or that we can get in donations. This one in particular actually specifically goes to municipalities or religious institutions, but that doesn't apply here. But we would work, of course, be happy to work with the town to put the grant together to get that. But those grants would not come through in time to do the roof next year. But if you look downstream on the budget, we have roofs on the barns and also painting of the other buildings. So those could help offset those costs in the future, which we hope we can do. So just to show you some pictures coming up, this is why we went to the complete lead remediation, which is much more expensive than scraping and painting as needed. You can see the paint bubbling up here. Any place that you don't get down to bare wood, the paint from previous layers is actively coming off, and here's another picture where it's completely alligated. This is a picture of one of the windows. Not only is it a lead paint issue, but there was water infiltration because the glazing was all out. So these were some of the things we started working on this year together with the grant and the town funds and our funds. These are the windows after they've been repaired. And this is what the house looked like when the paint was all removed. So now, as we do this, it's a good surface. We shouldn't need to keep painting the house now that we're down to bare wood and good priming and good paint. So the envelope project is extensive and expensive, but now that we're doing this, it won't be that we're chasing our tails trying to keep up with it. And this shows the scaffolding and how we actually got our look at the roof. We saw a lot of missing parts of shingles, so loss of the roof, much more than we realized was there, as well as significant cracks. Go to the next picture. The next picture showed actually we've got missing roof and cracks in the same areas, suggesting that I can't go, but that if we were right now to have, for instance, a hurricane or a substantial tropical storm event, we would probably already have leaking in the roof, because the wood shingles can absorb water as well, which an asphalt roof can, but the minute they reach their maximum absorption of whatever water they can absorb, then water will start coming into the house. So I seem to be frozen here, I don't know why. Let's try this. So there you go. You've got the cracks all the way up through a place where you're missing roof. So enough rain that falls on that or snow that sits on that for a significant amount of time, and we will have to deal with leaks as soon as this winter, that we'll have to catch water in pans because we can't replace the roof right now anyway. In the winter, it's not feasible. again, just a different area showing significant missing pieces of the roof and significant damage and wear on the ridge beams. This is just showing you some pictures of events that we have at the house, Tavern Night, which I know some of you have been to, so that, we think, obviously, and thank you for your support, but that the town is using this house, people are coming to the house and realize that it is a treasure for the town. We've also started maintaining our quilt collection and are worried about water infiltration for them as well. And this is just a picture showing you completed work on the front of the house. You can see now detail that we couldn't see before. Of course, the clapboards are nicely painted, windows are repaired. So, thank you for considering the request for the roof. Hopefully, you do agree that it is an urgent need. And also, thank you again for all the support you've already given to the house. And just a plug for our holiday open house. You can come see the painting that's already been done and the repaired windows that your support has made possible, and enjoy some holiday treats in the Amity Chamber Singers. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I know your numbers are good because I deal with the same thing. And I've just done that. I've just done the roof this summer.
Right. One thing to say about a wood shingle roof, though, is since it lasts 40 to 50 years, this is a twice in a century event, and it shouldn't be a request that any of us will be around for the next time.
It's a happy thought.
Yeah. You won't be hearing from us again about the roof, because once it's done, we're talking about, 2060, 2070, when it'll need to be done again.
I plan to be here.
Okay, great. But then we might have to bug you again. But, it obviously needs a wood shingle roof. It can't have an asphalt roof, but they're more expensive but last longer, so.
Okay, any questions? Any other questions? No? Okay,
It's got to be good. That's it.
I wanted to just stress historically, because I always say this when I come, this house that you own, it's your house. We just use it and take care of and own the possessions. This is on the list of National Historic Homes in Washington. It's the only one in town on the list. And secondly, although you think of it as the Amity Woodbridge Historical Society, it's like in New Haven, it was the New Haven Colony Historical Society, now it's the New Haven Museum. Really, the Thomas Darling House is a museum. It is just a home for the Historical Society. I think that's an important differentiation here. You're dealing with a museum, you're dealing with most of the furnishings are original to when Thomas Darling moved there in 1772 to 1774, and some of the possessions are not only rare but very valuable. So it's very essential, I think you use the term envelope, that we have a watertight envelope over all of this. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up is recreation. When I saw it was warm outside, I knew John would be here in his shorts.
We might go through January.
Okay, we're ready to go?
Sure.
Okay, Jim's going to talk about the first one, online registration that was completed, and he'll tell you how great it's going.
It's going well. A lot of people are registering. They registered over the weekends and over the holiday, Thanksgiving, they were registering. So, yeah, online registration is working well, and thank you for it, and it's going well.
Then we have gymnastics equipment. We're starting to buy, we have a program in here, and if you look at the first page, you'll see that 17, 18, 19, 20, we go right through replacing the equipment as we go along, as everything gets older and it needs to be replaced, and we're starting to replace now the equipment. And then the shuffleboard court we haven't chosen a spot for it yet. We're waiting to see what happens with the Country Club of Woodbridge, or what we're going to do, and where it's going to go, and where we're going to put it if we find a space. So that's going to be coming up also in the spring. So the first year is 2017, replacing a springboard and horse. And then in 2018, we're going for the balance beam, and then 19 and 20, replacing half the mats one year and half the mats the next year. The mats are coming, by that time, by 2019 and 20, they'll be about 10 years old, 12 years old. They'll be beyond their use of safety.
And we've expanded the program to Thursday afternoon, so gymnastics is
Right.
on Saturday, and we also have a program on Thursday, so they're being used.
All the time. And we leave the mats out. We leave half the mats out so that Beecher Road School will have some mats for Beecher South so they can use it. So we share the equipment between the two programs, and they get to use it. And if they need any of our equipment, we just unlock the door and let the physical education department use it. The next one is our treadmill safety project. We replace the treadmill every 4 years because it's commercial. It's not residential. So every 4 years, we just replace the treadmill to keep it up to snuff so that we get the newest and finest and the most safest piece of equipment, because after 4 years, the equipment is pounded on every day, 7 days a week. It's used morning, noon, and night. So it's a replacement program. So we have one in 2017, and the next replacement will be 2020. The next one is a project that I put in, and I think it's very important for the first time this year. I want to thank the Luciani family for allowing us to use their 30 by 50 tent. They had a 30 by 50 tent. I asked Wayne, and we could use it for the road race. It has rained 27 of the 34 road races. We just don't have the luck. Well, we can bring rain if they want. Their government wants to send us out west where there's any droughts and set up a road race, and Woodbridge will make it rain. So this is the tent we used. It went up. It was beautiful. It was just amazing how we could get everything underneath it. We had all our tables under it. We had sponsors underneath it. It was just something that we could use. And this tent will not only be used for recreation, but it'll be a town tent. So town can use it during the concerts. The town can use it during any events that they want to use it. It will be there for town use at all times. The next one is the Beecher Road tennis court. These are separate from the town tennis courts. We have two courts at Beecher North. About every 10 years, we refurbish them, we resurface them, we fix them. The fiberglass that they used last time and the cracks, when you heard Adam talk about the cracks, he had 150 cracks like this. We have two big cracks that are just starting, but we could refill them, we can fit them right now. And I think we can make another couple of years and get through this and then resurface it. The resurfacing lasts a pretty good time if you do it completely, if you put a new complete surface on it. So that's a good one. The next one I slid in there in 2020. I'm still looking for that we could maybe think about way down the road, putting in what I would call a professional skating rink. A skating rink that is portable, that is movable, that you could set up. It has refrigeration unit in it, and it would run all of, you could set it up in November, December, January, February, March, into April. So you're talking almost 6 months that you could set this up. And this would be one where we would put together the unit. It has walls, it has the refrigeration unit underneath it, and you set it up, and then you would be able to charge a fee to pay for itself. Now, I know down in the Stanford area, when I was talking to the gentleman when we were looking at this, that it would take about 3 years to pay it off, to get it paid off with the income. They paid it off in 2. I think they were charging $5 to come skating. They had skating rinks, and then all of a sudden they were getting offers for skating from different groups to come in at night and use and rent out space. So they had lights. They put it up at night.
How big is it, John? What's the area?
How
big an area is it?
It's a hockey rink.
So it's the same size as a hockey rink?
Actually,
Which tennis court are you talking about? To put it on?
we could put it on. Well, there wasn't a tennis court. You didn't have to put it on a tennis court. You could put it on the tennis courts, but you would put it on. I thought if we had a space like the Country Club of Woodbridge, where the old tennis courts, not the 2 tennis courts, but the far area, you could take an area like that. All you would need to do is build a slab to put a little shed. The shed's like $300, $400. You put a little shed up. You put your refrigeration motor in there, and then it pumps it out through the bottom through the piping, and then you store it. At the end of the season, you take it down. And you take it all apart, you put it away. You need a 40-foot trailer. Rec owns 3 that we bought years ago.
I remember this from last year.
So it's there. So I just threw it in. I thought, it's something that we could think about ways down the road.
How much is the Zamboni?
As long as I can drive it, I might pay for half of it. Zambonis are expensive. They are.
But this also can go over here at Fitzgerald.
This also could go at the Fitzgerald property.
Is
It could go on
the
there.
paved area you have there big enough for a sub-base?
No, not right now. Not right now. It could do an expansion. I'd like, maybe somewhere down the road, if we decide not to go in this route, we can expand the one at the Fitzgerald property towards the parking lot. There's about 15 feet you can come towards the parking lot, and then you can go another, I think, 30 or 40 feet towards the farm that we have where our wall is that we use. So you can expand that to make that, it's about a 90 by 75 right now, and you can make it a 90 by 130.
And what temperatures can you make ice at? How high can the temperature be? 60 degrees?
Oh, no, it can be
55?
up into the 40s. You can keep the ice
40s.
frozen up into the 40s, 50s. So that's why when you get into March, and you start getting that temperature change like this, you can still keep the ice frozen. You can still
But
keep
in the
it frozen.
40s and 50s?
Mm-hmm. You can still be frozen, because it's a refrigeration unit. If we had a top over, it'd be even nicer. Like this. We're not going there.
If you're gonna charge, don't you have to
Big
have
tent.
someone there actually to select?
Yes, and that's what amazed me is that I asked when I think it was Stratford, if I'm not mistaken, about theirs, and they said that they were amazed at the cost of what it took to have people there, monitoring, just someone there to monitor, to let them on the ice or something like that, paid for itself. With the number of people that would come, we used to see the number of people that come now, that come and skate here on this one like this. And it's really good. And then last year, we sealed it. Next year, I'm going to put in for sealing. It's only about $3,000 to seal it. We hold the water and next year we're going to use a light color, a white, so it reflects and doesn't absorb, and it'll last even longer. But keeping the water in it was amazing. Just keeping the water in and going like that. And then we just used shovels to scrape off the top whenever we did it. And then, God would rain on it. That rain would freeze overnight. It was beautiful. And as long as it holds the water. It's when you lose the water that the ice drops, and then you have to try to put water in. And when you put water in, it doesn't go underneath. It melts the water that's there, the ice, and it breaks apart, and then you have problems with it like that.
John, where are the trailers now?
We shared them. I share them with the Parks Department. The Parks Department uses them, and they're over at the Oleggy property.
Okay.
They're over
And there's
there.
enough space?
Yeah, it needs one 40-foot trailer.
Okay.
It needs one 40-foot trailer. We have two 40-foot trailers and one 20-foot trailer.
Okay, and they're not occupied then?
Well, they're used, yeah. Well, right now, Adam was using it for the equipment. One of them was being used for the equipment that they put up the playground with, and that one's empty. But it allowed him to use any equipment that he wants to put in. I'm allowing him to use it now because our equipment is in, our stuff for summer camp and everything that we store is in the old firehouse in the back bay. And since it's not being used like this, we just put it, it's easier for us to get it in there and out of there through the doors, and it would be getting out of the trailer. It takes a long time in packing it and getting it in. So it sits there. Okay. The next one is a basketball court. We had a basketball court. We have a basketball court, now a half court, a small court, which is at the new playground area. But we've always had a basketball court at West River Field, and I'd like to see us put one back in. I'd like to see a nice basketball court down there for the neighborhood. The neighborhood has a lot of children in it. There's a lot of people in that area. We have really no recreational functional equipment outdoors except for the small playground that's there in the ball fields. And that would be a nice asset if we found a spot on the side down there and placed it down there and put a basketball court down in that area. Just one court. Yeah, well, I know people. We can.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that like this. That's just, it's not a major corp like this, but I'll get better information on the exact cost of what it would be to put it there. But I just put that in there as a small court.
The location would be at West River.
The location would be at West River Field, like that.
Where would you put it, West River?
I was thinking that where they had the playground, so they had the swings like that, and then the old tennis basketball court was close to the field. If you take where the swings are, take the swings out and place it in that area and move the swings down, because the swings only take up a small area. They don't, the area in front of and back of the swings where you need to swing back and forth, you need so many feet, 12, 15 feet, whatever it is, that would fit in. The basketball court only had about 6 feet from the foul line. If you move it down into that corner, you'd have 60 feet. Somewhere in that 50 to 60 feet in that range from the line, because where the line of a baseball field ends you need so many feet afterward for a player to keep running and keep playing. He can't just stop at the end of, it's like a basketball court. You can't just stop at the end of the court. You need another 10, 12 feet for a player to slow down and go into, otherwise you can have a serious injury. So that's the area I thought maybe we could put it into. And then the last one is in there. I like to put it in there.
If you like to put it in and I like to take it out.
I know that, but there is a need. I just put it in because Matt and I know, Andy knows that the town doesn't have a 90-foot diamond, and we don't share. And Amity High School's been generous, but at certain points, it's a regional field, it's their field, and they always have that doggone good baseball team, and they make it so far into the playoffs every year, back-to-back state championships, and they go all the way, and you can't go on their field. And our program starts, and it's hindering because all our games are played away, there's no really home feeling, and like we said before, if you build it, they will come. They'll come, and you see how the Fathers League's program built so good. They have a soccer league. We built the soccer fields, at the Legge property. Look at the programs out there. We have lacrosse over there now. So I'm hoping that somewhere down the road that, maybe there'll be a grant, maybe there'll be something that we could find a spot and we could put, get this into Woodbridge. I only have like 4 or 5 more years, so.
Is there fundraising going on for that? Or
I think there was fundraising. I think there's fundraising. There's monies there. I don't know how much monies are there like that, but the Fathers League, I just got to give them a plug. Over the years, they've helped the town of Woodbridge so much. Every year, they put so much into the fields. They've always bought clay. They've done everything they can. Anytime you need help, they're there. They sponsor programs. They're part of the concerts. They're part of the road race. They're always there for us. So I think it's important that it may be on the back burner, but it needs to be on a burner, that we see that this is somewhere down the road, that's something that we could use for the children of the town of Woodbridge.
Well, one time it was discussed, they were going to make a major contribution to funding. Is that true?
That's true. That's true, and I think they may have the funds there. But I'd have to talk to Dwight about that. But they may have some funds started that they have that, so there could be funds put towards that. If we decide to look at it, we decide to get down and sit down and talk to them, then we can start talking monetarily who pays for what and how we do it, and then maybe have some more fundraisers. Do it that way. That's it.
John, I have one more question. What is the membership for the exercise center? Do you know?
In the 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
That's not the age of the people, that's just the...
No, I understand. I understand.
You get some students, seniors, some families,
50 members?
Yeah, around.
Yeah. It's a good program.
Any other questions for John? No? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Jim.
Always a pleasure, John.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll see you in church.
Not until I get my truck. I'm out of wheels right now. No.
We're just burning.
Raymond, how are you?
I'm good. I hope I can be as short as everybody else. Is it all right to start with computers?
Sure.
All right, I have 3 items. I have computers, the building upgrade, and vehicles. Computers, I'm actually asking for $7,000, which I think is pretty conservative. It's to replace 5 of the computers that we presently use in the building right now. We roughly have, I think we have 15 desktops over in that building and 2 laptops. But the computers that we want to replace are, the first one would be records. That's where the reports are done, or all held. That's where a lot of the documents are held. That's where a lot of the dissemination of any information to any agency is done there. So, we have to be pretty accurate, and it's always good for the records clerk to have a upgraded computer. Hers is a 2007. The chief's office, which would be the chief, or more than likely would go to the administrative assistant, and her computer would step down to the chief. That's 2006 that was replaced. And then we move on to our investigative services unit. Both of the detectives that are in that unit, their computers were 2008 and 2007. They're doing crime investigations, evidence, video, emails, photo arrays. They're drafting arrest reports, search warrants reports, and court documents. So those are computers that really have to be working top notch. And then the last one is the administrative sergeant who oversees ISU. His is the same, but he is the court liaison, so he's responsible for all the paperwork that comes through the computer from the court. Again, evidence, the search warrants, and anything associated with the law enforcement division. So those are the 5 computers that are going to be replaced. As you can see, they're 8 and 9 years old. Any of us have computers at home. We know they get 8 or 9 years old. They start getting slow and everything like that. But what's more critical for us is that we have to keep up that software that keeps up those antiviruses, and those are the most important things associated with the police department. So, we want to keep the computers up.
Right. Is this going to cover the additional server capacity needs for the body cameras?
Yes, it does. Actually, that's actually a separate computer. We got that through a grant. And the body cameras are the same. It's the same system that we actually have as our video cameras that are in our cars. So they're interchangeable, and they're going to be served and kept right on the same server, which I probably will be coming back to you in the future, because we're working with the state, and they're coming down with guidelines from the state as far as retention goes. And the important thing with that is, in just mentioning the server, is that our original policy was 30 days, but it looks like it's going to have to be 90 days recommended by the state. So obviously we're going to have to have a lot more space.
That's connected into like a DVR system so that it records all and keeps all?
Exactly.
So it needs a lot more memory. And
correct, yeah. But the big factor is going from 30 days retention to 90 days retention. We're going to over a period of time, we're going to need a lot more space. But that's a requirement that came down from the state. Computers? We're good?
So this is hardware, right? And our software is up to date?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Actually, several years ago, the boards asked us, that was actually used to be in my capital budget, would have been all the software and everything, but that's actually in the operating budget now. Our payment for that. The building upgrade is the next one. I submitted that update just to show you the project estimate. And I think what basically is needed at this point, and we're kind of halfway there because we have a radio committee that's associated with some of the issues with the new building, is to put a committee together to make approvals and to work towards the upgrades that the department needs. The paperwork that I showed you is it's associated with a 3 or 4% increase. As years go by, obviously it's going to increase. But at this point, there's other than working towards getting that done through a committee, there's not much more that the police department can do. We've got a completed space needs assessment. We've got the floor plan done, and then we've got the initial cost estimate done. And I've tried to keep updated with Brian Humes, who's done most of that work. If there's any other questions.
I have a question for you, Tony.
Yeah.
The steep grant for the 500,000.
Right.
What's the time?
It's I believe that's 2018.
So we have to start using it by 2018.
The final invoice has to be paid and submitted by 2018, June 30th, I think it is. And but you don't have to do the whole project to spend the steep grant. You just need to spend 500,000.
How much is it total? Is that is it more
500,000.
than five? Oh,
No, 500,000. So you just need to spend $500,000 to that's your obligation for the steep.
I'm sorry.
The requirements of the building, is that because it's a tear down now? Is it in real trouble? I haven't seen
It's
it.
not a tear down.
Oh, okay.
No.
I just wanted to know. I didn't know what
there's-
the condition was.
I've talked about bringing. I have a PowerPoint presentation to show you and show everyone the status of the building at this. Well, the PowerPoint is actually pretty good. Tony Genovese has seen it, and it was presented years ago when we were actually doing the space needs assessment.
Okay.
So it actually shows you, and I compared it with another area department, showing you what it should be, or, what it could be, to what we have over there. It's basically, a lot of the issues over at the police department right now are space.
Didn't you present it to the board?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Well,
Yes, I did.
Maria wasn't on.
I wasn't on it, so.
No, I understand that, sorry. But we saw, but the rest of us, I think, saw it.
Correct.
How long will this project
I have
Still
it.
have it, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, it probably would be, it wouldn't be a bad idea to present it at some time. Because things have been done, like the Sallyport has been taken care of over the last year. We absorbed that when the Public Works building was done.
That's right, yeah.
And that was a big deal for the police department as far as safety goes.
Maybe we do for a walkthrough,
Yeah.
and then you can do your PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
How long would this project take?
Well, it's a two-phase project. Part of it would be 1 year moving up to space that we're hoping that would be allocated for that. And then the second year would be more moving back down to the operational portion of it. Anything else about the
One
building?
last question for Tony. on this
Sure.
part. So on that grant, is it possible that if the project is started, that you can ask for some type of extension?
That is absolutely possible. We've done that with other grants, and it's possible to ask for an extension,
So if
yes.
we want to utilize this grant, the goal is to start some kind of process by.
Correct,
2000.
some sort of process, whether it's just for the amount of the grant or some other amount. Should have that hopefully in the next year or so.
Any other questions for Ray? Before we go to vehicles, can I go back to computers just for a second? Do we have in-house or outsourced IT folks?
We have outsourced. The town does.
Okay.
The police department has an in-house person that handles their computers.
They do.
Yes, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fire.
And the fire department
And the fire
outsources also.
Is that recent? No.
Which
The in-house IT, or did you increase the number of hours or something in the last year and a half?
We didn't increase the number of hours. We assigned one of our sergeants, our day sergeant,
I knew
to
there
that
was some- I knew
responsibility.
there was some
Just
issue.
an added responsibility to an
Right,
individual,
right.
one of our patrolmen.
So what are his IT qualifications?
He's on the job training. He has used. He works very closely with Omni, who is contracted by the town. It's actually in my operating budget that we work with buyback hours that we use if he needs assistance. It's like, it's a good example is your home computers. I mean, when you have something go wrong with your home computers, you call Dell or whoever your
my kids.
or your kids, and they run you through it, and that's basically how he does a lot of the problems. Most of the equipment that we have at the building is all under warranty, so it's just a matter if we have a problem with any of the desktop computers, the sergeant calls Dell in this case, and they walk them through it. If it's something that is outside the realm of Dell, usually we bring Omni into it. If it becomes an operational issue between our system itself and the computers. But it works very well.
I don't know what I'm asking, but that wasn't the answer I hoped to get. But I don't feel comfortable. Listen, those computers are old, and I grant you that, but I haven't heard anything yet that tells me they can't run the required software or security on them, and I don't have an IT expert who's telling me that. And it's not a huge amount of money, but I think we ought to look at what we're doing at IT at the police department and the fire department that I think are pretty much run by these systems and these computers. And having heard that, I'm not that comfortable with what I just heard.
Joe,
I
I'm something of an IT guy. I worked in IT for about 20 years. I can tell you that they have a lifespan.
Oh, I know.
When they get to be about 5 years old, they just need to be replaced.
I agree. I'm not that. Don't take it wrong, but I think that we should have. I'm just saying that I think. I run a small business. I've been involved in a few small businesses, and we've had in-house IT folks that were IT trained, and I have outsourced IT people. That's why I asked the qualifications of the sergeant on the job training. I don't know. I hope it's working.
It is in fact working. In today's day and age.
I rose up through the ranks for 20 years, but
Good.
no college degree.
Okay.
So I have to say, on-the-job training works. And
Okay.
see
But he doesn't
problems
do
solved
this.
And there is a memo on here.
Full time, right? It's not all he does.
Oh, no, he's
Right,
the
patrol,
day sergeant.
you know what I mean?
He's a supervisor on the
He
road.
needs to- He'll come in and take a quick look, and then determine if you need to bring somebody from the outside on the shore.
Correct. I mean, there is a lot of work, trust me, there is a lot of work for him to do. He's very busy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just deal with the computers. And it's about having somebody that's dedicated to do this work, all right? And somebody that's willing to do it. I mean, it's not rocket science in some cases, because they can call on a phone and they can deal with troubleshooting. That's how we all work with computers today. Most companies don't have an IT person. But our systems are critical, and we have to keep that software up. And a lot of these older computers will not support these older computers. You can call any company today, and if we have to bring in new software to keep up the security on our computers, we have to get a better computer to handle that software. They don't function.
And the bottom line, when it's out there, you call Omni and...
Correct. Yeah, we have them right.
You have somebody at your fingertips to get right.
Yeah. But a lot of it's troubleshooting, and he's associated with our computers as well as our telephone system, our radio system, the MTTs that are in our cars. He's doing I can tell you, he's doing an excellent job. And most of the reason he's doing an excellent job is he's got the feeling that he wants to make a difference, and he puts a lot into it.
Okay.
He's getting some good training. Vehicles. Between what we've bought and what I'm asking for, we're doing very well with the new SUVs that we're putting out there, but the cost of the SUVs are going up. Not so much the vehicle itself, but the equipment that's going into them. For this year, I'm asking for $35,000 for one vehicle, and then an offset of $12,000 for a truck that I actually 2 years ago I came to this board and asked them for consideration for a pickup truck, all-purpose vehicle. We weren't able to buy it at that time. I couldn't afford it. It's a lot more than what I expected to be. This past year, we tried to even go out and try to buy a used vehicle to fill the void, and we couldn't get anything at any price. I'm working with Tony, looking to go out of state and try to jump on a bid out of the state of Connecticut and Massachusetts, where we might be able to get a considerable price for a pickup truck now. You just go out and look at the retail vehicles now. Ford, which is what we're trying to stay with, they went with a whole new Ford pickup truck that, the price of it is just skyrocketed. So I try to stay very conservative with what I'm asking for this year. The one vehicle, and then we have enough money in to offset it with what we already have in the capital budget, and hopefully we'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
The capital budget from this year, you mean?
From last year. There actually is a surplus of hopefully it'll be about $27,000, taking the 12 to have 39 to buy the pickup truck. Basically, it's just coming down to reality, what the cost of the vehicles are.
So 18 through 22, it's an estimate of 2 vehicles roughly a year?
Yeah, that's usually what you have.
Just kind of curious how it goes down.
18, the reason it goes down, okay.
Yeah, I'm wondering how it
The
goes
reason
down.
it goes down is because we have 2 Crown Victorias remaining in the fleet. Once those Crown Victorias are out, we can take the equipment from the new SUVs and put them in the next vehicle that we pick. The problem with the equipment that we've been buying most recently is it's all new stuff that's going in the SUVs. And I looked at it the other night, and I actually came with a request of 34 and change for a new police vehicle that we were buying in this fiscal year. Because when I'm asking for the money, it's today. I'm not buying the vehicle until next year, so the price is going up. Well, in the state bid, the cost of the vehicle actually went down, but the price of all the equipment that went in went up. So we're ending up going from almost $35,000 for a vehicle to almost $38,000 for a vehicle. And it's not because the vehicle's costing more, it's just that the cost of a lot of the electronics and everything that's got to be put in, the lights and everything that are put in the vehicle, the prices are just skyrocketing. Plus the cost of putting that equipment in the vehicles. But I'm hoping that when we get into those, 19 and 20, we're actually going to see a lot of the prices come down because we have all the equipment. It's just a matter of taking it out of one car and putting it into another. And we are going to be providing, this fiscal year, we're going to be providing human services with the vehicle as soon as we buy our new admin vehicle. So they'll be getting one of our older Crown Vics, but it's used by the Detective Bureau now, which is it's just in excellent shape, and she's looking forward to getting it.
I don't know this, but how many vehicles do you have in your fleet?
There's actually, I believe it's 15 right now. We have 8 patrol.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
Pardon me?
Sorry.
Yeah, this is it. How many are there?
We've got patrol vehicles, administrative vehicles, investigative services unit, because I'm not all that familiar with vehicular nomenclature.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what's a cream puff?
It's something from the bakery.
Evidently,
the
it's not,
cream
because
puff.
this has 24,000 miles.
And it's still used.
What does that mean?
It's a joke, I guess.
I guess.
The 77 Dodge pickup we got through the North Star program. That's the military vehicle that we bought, and we got that quite a while ago. But it still works. It's an old 77 pickup, and it's like you can see, it's only got 24,000 miles on it. They use it to pick up tires, to pick up barricades. In the wintertime, we do a lot with it. It's 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
But a history on that, Susan, is that we bought that vehicle. It must have been 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Our engine blew in it, and I was able to get a car from a truck, the same kind, that they couldn't use anymore, but the engine was good from Guilford. Guilford transferred it to us, and we were able to keep it.
Well, no wonder you call it cream puff.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
cream
Say no
puff.
more.
It's a sweet ride.
But you have this.
Yeah, we have this.
You have this.
Sorry, I didn't see it.
I just want to explain to you about idle mileage. All right, and this is one of the reasons that I'm not looking for 2 new vehicles this year and trying to get an opportunity to save a little money, not spend as much. Is that if you look at the idle mileage of the vehicle, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but right now, any given day, every car in our fleet is at private duty or on patrol, and usually we only have 2 cars on patrol. So every other car is out there being used. And it's being used with idle mileage. And if you look at the figures, where I'm just using car 2 at the top, it has 72,000 miles, which you think it has low mileage, all right? But it actually has 254,000 miles of usage, idle mileage, which that is mileage. That's on all the operational components in that car, your alternator, your fan belt, everything that works. All the maintenance issues on that vehicle are being run for those periods of time. So you take that into account. But I wanted you to be aware of that, but I wanted you to also be aware that the mileage is low on the vehicles. I'm trying to take advantage of that and see if we can get through a period where we can save a little money.
Any other questions for Ray?
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray.
Next up is the CCW.
I think everybody knows Tommy Miller. Billy Casper Golf, he's the general, or has been the general manager in Woodbridge the last 2 years. Hi, pretty good, how are you? Okay. I'm not totally certain what you have. I believe you have a document, let's see, operating budget items on the left, capital budget items on the right. Okay, yeah. What we do annually in conjunction with Billy Casper Golf is we put together, and we call it a course improvement plan. And the idea is to try to, direct future improvements in the golf course. Many of these items actually are things like, cutting trees, or other things that in like a public works department, end up being part of an operating budget. And in our budget, or in the Billy Casper budget, some of these things also end up being part of the operating budget. So it's a little bit of a mix here. I mean, and in fact, in the last couple of years, there's been about, or over $60,000 worth of items that, we had put on the list that have ended up being taken care of by Billy Casper Golf, again, through their operating budget. And these improvements, are important. Tommy's going to talk about, or specifically some of the, revenue numbers and things like that. But, again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the business, okay? That's of value to the town in at least two specific financial ways. And one is the fact that under the existing contract, there's a revenue sharing clause. Basically, it says that 50% of the revenues in excess of $825,000 a year, get returned to the town. And, again, this year, Tommy's going to talk about the numbers and all that. But the second thing, and there is, always the opportunity or thought to, putting the land aside or the use of the land, but to, sell the golf business or lease the golf business or do something. But, it is a business. And so, the higher you can drive those revenues, ultimately, the better price you'll get for the golf business. So again, for at least those two reasons, and that's why, it would be nice if we could get some help, capital dollar-wise and all that, but, so far we've, sort of managed on our own, yeah. But Tommy, you're going to talk about the a little snapshot on the business, and
I would like to, yeah.
And we were going to talk about the plan just in Tom, just in general areas. In the sense of things that have to be done, like to the tees, the fairways, the greens, and we can talk about specifics if people have any specific questions also. Okay.
My goal isn't to sit here and bore you with numbers tonight, but I do want to paint what is a pretty positive picture as far as not only year-over-year growth, but the growth we've experienced over the last 4 years. Pardon some of my math here. 2012, just to paint you a little bit of a background. 2012, we came in a little late, if I'm not mistaken, Deke. We started maybe March, April.
March 8th or thereabouts. Although the golf courses were literally open all winter.
That year. That's exactly right. So what we did is, if you look at the percentage change, we based it off of 2013, so we could compare apples to apples. We wanted to make sure, but we did want to account for that 2012 number of the 748. Well, we don't typically do a lot of business that year. We may have done a little bit more, but for a comparison's sake, we really looked at 13, 14, and 15. What you'll notice is $75,000 growth in just golf revenues alone. And the reason we're only going to speak to golf revenues is that's where the town revenue share kicks in. Anything over 825, we actually split with the town of Woodbridge. This year, we're at 913. So roughly $39,000, give or take, what we finish up with here in December. So that's a pretty hefty check back to the town. Going into next season, the management fee is going to drop again. We're going to be down to $180. So with this sort of growth that we've experienced over the last 2 years, coupled with the fact that you're into a lower payment, we're starting to alleviate some of that stress that we know has typically gone with the operation. The reason I have you reflect on these numbers, the big change that I want you to take a look at is if you go to the rounds numbers right there, we're up 29% in that 3-year cycle.
Why that's so significant is if we can raise our APR by just a couple dollars, $2, $3, $4, you can see this financial impact that'll have on the P&L.
I'm sorry, APR is the...
Average
like
per
the
round.
price per
Yeah,
round,
yeah,
so-
average per round, excuse me.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we really would like to take a look. We're going to contribute some money for the bunker sand. We know that that's an area that we feel could enhance the overall value and playability of the golf course. It wouldn't be a full renovation, but it would be adding a layer of sand about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. What that does is allows for the playability of the golf course to be better. Also, a little bit on the pace of play side as well. We would like to maybe get some help from the town with some tree work during the off season. So if guys aren't busy or it's less snow or whatever it may be, we'd like to take advantage of some of those services. Just some tree removal around the property, limit the cost that it would have to the town. We know you have obviously labor and whatnot with that, but we think that would have an impact not only on creating a healthier atmosphere for the turf grass, but also aesthetically there would be some advantages there.
And some of these trees are safety issues.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I mean, in the sense that they're dead trees, they're losing limbs, et cetera, et cetera.
And then it's further down the road, we'd like to start to expand on some tee boxes because the number of rounds that the golf course was designed to play is not the same number that we're currently doing. Typically, when that golf course was built in that way, those tee boxes are designed to host between 12 and 20,000 rounds of golf. With us playing 31,000 rounds of golf, that's a pretty significant difference. So
Do you shorten the fairways to make it go faster?
I would, if you could play from the 150-yard marker, I'd love it. It would get everybody through a lot quicker. So.
No, I'm just asking if you move the tee boxes.
No. We would actually enlarge them. We actually want them wider and longer because what we want to do is we want to make sure that area has less foot traffic in the same area. So, for example, if I had the size of this table and everybody walked through on the side of this table, well, the area would grow or would die out much quicker. As opposed if we took this little square right here, you'd see the turf survive longer because there's less compaction and less stress to it.
Thank you.
But the real opportunity that we see here is as the attention to detail improves, we can drive the APR, we can create a better overall perception of the course condition, which is not only going to lead to a better experience, but again, we can charge more money, which is going to generate us more revenue back at the end of the day. So I'm not going to come to you with a laundry list of items that we really think that we need. We think we're managing it pretty well right now, but those couple things that we asked for, we'd like a little bit of support. So if anybody has any questions, I'd like to field
Yeah,
it.
and honestly, one of the complications with the trees is actually, it wouldn't be a fiscal year 2017 capital budget item. I mean, it's something that, would like to, get some help, frankly, as soon as the ground freezes. Particularly, again, for those trees that, are dying, losing limbs in areas, where there is a lot of golf traffic. I'm sorry.
Tommy, even with the changes in the tee box, is there a number of rounds that's just too many?
I don't think so. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're not hindering the experience with the number of rounds that are played. We see as many as 36, 37, 38,000 in golf courses that are state municipality, maybe a little bigger towns such as Westport, Trumbull. I think those are pretty accurate numbers, Deke. Between 35 and 40,000 rounds is pretty good for a bigger size town based on the demographic there. So we think that the golf course would hold up fine, especially when you're in a fairway. The area is much more dispersed. It's a larger area. The tee boxes is a starting point where each player will go from. So the space, so to say, is smaller. So if we're able to expand that, it's less foot traffic, less compaction, less stress. So.
And how critical is the removal of the pond to rebuild that road?
Well, I wish I still had the pictures because, again, this is the issue on the first hole. of the golf course, and there's a retention pond that was created, part of the whole structure, and there's a retaining wall that, well, kind of holds up the green or whatever, and the sleepers that the wall was built on, or at least in a certain area, are just slanting, and so the whole wall, is starting to slide. 2 years ago, honestly, and we talked about it, at the capital budget 2 years ago. Honestly speaking, part of the issue at that time is that we were fighting with trying to get decent turf on the first green. Since then, there's been a couple of things agronomically done, including a fan was installed to aid in the air circulation. Took out the sand, or replaced the sand bunkers with grass bunkers, and very simply, the principal thing that does is there's less sand that goes on the green, but also it disperses the foot traffic a lot more. And going back to like the tees, the more you can, or get away from concentrated foot traffic, the better the grass will grow. And and the green is, and there's been some other things that have done. Did you air jetted that twice?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, just some sophisticated stuff, and now it seems okay. But again, the reality, if you look at the wall and look at those sleepers, you'll say, well, it's got to fall over sometime. But of course, there's power in pizza.
So is it possible just to drain the pond and fill it in? Would that solve the problem, or is it more complicated than that?
Again, sleepers are what the wall sits on.
Okay.
And they're huge pieces of precast concrete, and in certain areas, they're at a significant angle, and so the wall's on top of it, and the wall's just following the sleepers right down, into the water. Now, it's not measured every year. Maybe it should be measured to see whether or not it is actually continuing to slide. But right now there's no plans, and honestly, obviously, their contract is only for another year, and so. We couldn't even put together all the planning to get that done in a year. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm only asking because that's the most expensive item on this. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for both of you. Tommy, I heard you say that Casper was willing to contribute to the bunker sand, and on this budget request, Deke, there's a $10,000 amount for the bunker sand. Is that our portion of it, or is that what Casper is willing to cover? So we can basically take that 10,000 off this list. Well, I'm willing to take whatever I can off. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thanks.
Have a great holiday.
You too, Tommy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What was the left
Tony, you doing the board of selectmen?
Just a couple of comments about the board. First, I want to go to the info systems.
Oh, info systems?
Yeah. In info systems, we've received, in the town, we've received a lot of requests, comments, questions about our Wi-Fi coverage. And currently, it's very spotty. We have hub here, hub there, but not universal Wi-Fi coverage in our buildings. So if you're here, you may have good coverage because it's like right underneath this room. But if you walk down the hall, you lose the Wi-Fi. Then there's maybe some coverage at the senior center, but not on the rec end. It's just very spotty. So that proposal in there is to have a universal Wi-Fi coverage in our buildings, and it would be the same Wi-Fi network. So when you're walking from one building to the other, you would be on the same Wi-Fi network. You might lose it when you walk outside, depending on what parameters we set. But then when you walk back into another building, it picks back up again. We received a lot of questions and comments about it.
Yep. And
that's why we put it in there.
By the center building, it will include the police station area.
That's right.
Also.
Yeah.
Okay.
And depending on what part they want to, but yes, it would include the police station, the library, public works,
okay,
town hall.
This is not, I don't know, I'm not an expert, but you know, it's, when I drive by Center Road here, usually I get, my telephone does not work. It's like a signal.
Why should you be different?
Right, but I'm just saying, is that because of this?
No.
Nobody's works.
But your Wi-Fi on your phone might be working.
Okay.
But you'll
sorry.
pick up a Wi-Fi signal.
That's right.
No, that's right. I mean, you know, if I Skype, I mean, I can see.
You can Skype.
But it's been on being like this for years, so I figured maybe, is that because of that?
Use Skype when you're driving by the series.
Okay.
Just don't text while you're driving.
That's
There you
true.
go.
Okay, Board of Selectmen, Tony, just open space.
Yeah, so that's the Board of Selectmen is something for you to discuss. It is a well, it's not something that is. Let me pull up to that. That's just sort of a statement of open space and what you feel about open space and what you feel about it being part of your capital plan. And this is sort of the idea of the capital plan is to highlight what your priorities are from a capital standpoint. So whether it's traditionally been in there at this level, but it's for you to discuss whether you want to change that or eliminate it or add to it or whatever your,
Do we have any?
because there's other priorities in
Any
here.
open space reserve as we speak?
We have about $82,000 in open space funds.
So I like this idea, but can I bring up the idea that, CUPOP and Conservation had multiple meetings together last year before the 10-year plan. And one of the things they discussed often was reprioritizing open space properties. And they felt there were properties in town that either were deeded to the town over the years or somehow received by the town that aren't really a good fit for open space because there's nothing around them that can be done. So what they had discussed, both groups, was maybe selling some of those off-piece properties that don't really make sense so that there would be money in the reserve to buy properties that made more sense that we would like to have or keep as open space. And certainly would be financially a better way to go rather than us put $1 million in. And maybe if they can start the process of bringing those properties to our attention that could be something that we can sell as an asset to put that money in reserve, we'll have some money in reserve. Maybe it's time to take a good look at some of those properties. In other words, there was a property deeded, I think, in the corner of like Oak, is it Oak Hill here? Right past the park. And I guess it's just a wetlands piece of property and that type of thing. And then there's another one, there's a building on it, but there's nothing around it that can be used as, really efficient for open space.
So this is in furtherance of their management.
Yeah, so
They're
maybe
looking to manage the open
maybe
space
there is a way to put
space
money in reserve
differently,
without it
yeah.
coming out of our
Yeah.
budget right now. Maybe there is a few of those pieces of property that we can look at as a board and
Right.
discuss. I mean, Enoch Drive was discussed, but that may be a little bit different because there may be a greenway issue.
But I think the other thing is that a lot of these properties, no one would buy.
Yeah.
Well, that
Because they are
could
not,
be.
they're not buildable land.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
that could
They're
be.
mostly wetlands
Yes.
and something.
Yep.
But I also, when it comes to things like that, you need to look at the deed, because, some of these were given so that they would never be used
That's
for
right.
some reason.
Have to be looked at.
And you can't do that.
Well, that's why they're creating inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't do anything without
Yeah,
that.
that's what they've been doing. They put together a pretty extensive list of the properties. So
It's
it
worth
just might be
taking-
something we can consider as a way to
taking a
generate a
look
few
at.
dollars
Yeah.
for open space.
Oh, surely.
I had a couple of things on this one. One is, I understand they are coming up with a new list. The old list, Maria, from the old Conservation Commission is gone. All the documents were gone from the Conservation.
No.
Oh, you have the maps and the documents? Because I thought
No.
they were starting over.
No, I think what we had before, it does not really, if you're doing a current one, then go for it. I don't think there's old stuff that you lost. It's always there. I mean, it's in our files, in
Oh, it
town
is?
records, yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe you
The
can help.
land
I
use,
think
the
nobody-
land use office will give them to you.
Oh, all the records of the Conservation
Well,
Commission.
there was some issue where the stuff from the car conservation, from, I don't know when.
That's what it seemed like, so they were looking again.
I
Maybe
think
they all sort of
I think what
disappeared.
they're talking about was where we were investigating these things, and we had, I had put together a criterion situation, and we went and investigated them. But I think when there's a new administration and there's a new set of people involved, they should create their own so that they can understand it better. I mean, what we have is already passé.
But I think whatever work a board or commission does belongs to the town. It doesn't matter when there's a new administration.
There should be continuity in it.
Yeah,
I also want to share it with the Conservation Commission or whomever going
Okay,
forward. I
but
think,
we never shared it because we never really finished it or called it official.
Well, that
You know what I'm
doesn't
saying?
Well, if they have it, it would be great, it would help them.
I'll see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but if
Yeah.
there is something, I think
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
Right.
Also, of course, I think as we think about open space, and I am a huge proponent of open space, some of this will of course depend upon the country club.
Absolutely.
Because if we make a determination that we've essentially just spent $9 or $10 million on open space,
Then it impacts.
that affects what we do going forward. And I certainly agree with Tony that, having the best value is what we should be looking at and proceeding in that way, but I think we have to look at the whole picture. These numbers are here, sort of, as Tony said, it's kind of a tradition now, but it's in there to say, we care.
Yes.
But, of course, it's part of the whole
If
discussion.
something comes up and we do need to buy it, like something in the center of town or what, that you need, this thing was set up so that in fact we can use them if we need to.
Well,
But you still have to
You'd
have
have
the
to-
funds.
Yeah, that's right, that's
You
right,
have
that's
to
right, it's
raise the
appropriate.
tax, you have to
You'd
raise
have
the
to raise,
taxes.
correct. You'd have to raise the money, but
Yeah.
this just shows the
It's a really
illustration.
big wish list.
yes.
Hey, it's holiday season. You
Go
can
ahead.
ask for whatever you
Absolutely.
want.
Buy a cream puff. Do whatever you want.
Write a
All right,
letter to
anything
Santa
else
Claus.
talk about tonight?
I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.